Hey YouTube, I'm Leigha Butler. Today's class is going to be excellent for any time you have a sore lower back. Be sure you have a blanket, a pillow, and a couple of blocks. Go ahead and grab your stuff and let's meet in a seated position. If you're new to my channel, hi, I'm Leigha Butler, welcome. I'm trying to get this channel to 100,000 subscribers, so help us hit that milestone by clicking subscribe. And anything you do, liking, commenting, of course, helps the momentum, helps me keep giving you free yoga. Welcome to the mat. So when you throw out your back, usually the last thing you feel like doing is moving. But ironically, movement is exactly what your body needs in order to stimulate blood flow and healing. So here's my own little recipe. If I throw out my back and it's acute enough and painful enough, I will give myself a single day to completely rest. I'll lie back, I'll elevate my legs at every opportunity, and do nothing much more than the simple walking and tasks throughout the day. On the second day, even if I don't feel like it, I'll make sure I bring a little movement in. It's gentle, but I know that it's helping me. Of course, this is not meant to replace medical advice, so if you think you have something going that's underlying, it's super painful or chronic, certainly get imaging done, go get it checked out. But if you just like some relief, then join me today. So I'm starting with a pillow underneath the seat. I'm going to take a cross-legged seat with one leg out in front of the other. Rock a little side to side. And then tip yourself forward. Go only so far as feels good. Pausing where you need to. Once we reach our depth, we're going to stay a while, finding really big, soft, complete inhales and exhales. Walk yourself halfway up. Keep the crossed legs, but walk your hands over to one side, reaching. And then over to the other side, really reaching. And then back through center. Walk yourself back up to sit, and we'll switch the crossing. Other leg out in front. Same thing, sit tall, tip yourself forward, and pause with every new sensation. Really check in before you go deeper and deeper. Find a place where you can soften and find full, satisfying breaths. Come on up halfway. Walk yourself over to one side. Reach away from your anchored hips. Through center, over to the other side. Actively reaching from your anchoring hips. back through center and walk on up to sit. Let's extend the legs. Now we'll move on to the back. Bend your knees, plant your feet, and help yourself to lie all the way down. Draw the right knee in toward your chest and squeeze. Then lengthen the left leg long on the mat. We're just going to spend a handful of breaths with this mild stretch. Good. Then plant the right foot on the ground and the left foot on the ground. Now bring the left knee in toward your chest and squeeze. Extending the right leg long on the mat. Keep squeezing as you breathe softly but fully. Release. Left foot plants on earth and the right foot plants next to it. Okay, next, you're going to draw both knees in toward your chest and give your legs a squeeze. Now keeping the low back flat on the ground, you'll rock side to side as though you could get a massage there. We're not going to stop there. Let's take a palm onto each knee. Then send your right knee forward and the hip moves down also. So now the hips are uneven. And then kind of like you're steering a wheel, now you're going to push on the left side instead and pull the right side up. So I'm more interested in the hips than the knees. Now the left hip reaches down, the right hip reaches up. And we're going to keep shifting like that. Right hip down toward the end of the mat, and then the left hip down toward the end of the mat. And then make it a little bit more rapid, like you're swiveling your hips side to side. Keep going. Good. Draw the knees in towards your chest. Now we're going to rock all the way onto your left side, but get a block handy. Pillow can work too if you don't have a block, and you'll place it right between your knees. Come all the way onto the side. Take your bottom hand and keep the knees down with it. You're going to reach this right arm long and roll it open. It hardly matters how open you get. We're just looking for a little mobility of the mid to upper spine. One little trick is to inch your spine a little bit longer. And then we hang out. The hips are relatively stacked. Roll all the way back over to your left, and we'll roll onto the back body. Okay. Other side. Come all the way onto the right side. Block between the knees. Hips and knees are stacked. Get extra long through your spine right away. It really helps. Left arm long, and it's going to peel open. It really doesn't matter how deep your twist is. You're going to hang with it wherever it is. A handful of big breaths. Soft even through the lips and the neck. Roll all the way over to the right side once again, and then come all the way onto the back body. Hug the knees in, and remove the block. Now help yourself up onto all fours. You can roll over to the side, use your hands to help you. From hands and knees. You place knees right under hips, hands right under shoulders. You're going to start to rock the hips from side to side. Next time they're over on the left, keep them there, hike them up even more, and look over the left shoulder. Other side, hips way over, hike them up even more, look over the shoulder to see the hips. And then stay in motion like that. It can be nice and slow. Last one. And then find all fours. Moving into cats and cows, you're going to isolate parts of the spine. So at first, the upper spine stays neutral, but you'll tuck the tailbone underneath, rounding just at the low back. Then uncurl from the low back toward the tailbone, finding that cow shape. Do that again. Draw the tail underneath, posterior pelvic tilt, tucking it around the low back. And then from the low back, extending the spine, tipping pelvis forward, sits bones reach high. Stay in motion this way for a few more. And then come on into neutral spine. Now this unceremonious wiggle. So you're going to tuck your tail underneath you, look over the left shoulder. As you move in toward cat shape, you'll start to look over the right shoulder. And then move in toward cow shape, arching the back, looking up, sits bones point high. Right away you'll reverse direction. So look over the right shoulder, tuck the hips under for cat. Look over the left shoulder as you move in toward cow. And then back over the left shoulder. Now stay in motion. It doesn't have to be exactly as I described. The most important thing is that we're moving the spine in all ways throughout the course of this class. Make your way in toward neutral, and then we're going to take hold of our blocks. Come on to the highest height to start. You'll send the right knee up and around, make a few little circles there, and then draw the foot forward, step it out in front. Take your hands or blocks to the inside of the knee. You're going to rock forward and back. I'm going to address any tightness at the hamstrings and the hip flexors in order to help free up the back area without overstretching. So bend into the knee now. Allow the hips to sink forward as you lift through the heart. And breathe where it's needed. Straighten out through the right leg and return to all fours. You can shake it out. We'll send the left knee up. Make some small circles. And then step this foot forward outside the left hand. Hips will come forward and you'll rock with it, forward and back. And bend your left knee, send the hips forward, lift up on the heart. Picture the whole body breathing. Straighten out at the left leg, return to all fours. All right, let's move the blocks aside. We're headed into our last little shape for this short practice. It's going to require a blanket roll, and not a very big one. So you could play with the thickness of this roll, but essentially you're going to sit down on the tops of your feet. And we're going to head toward child's pose with the knees together. But we're going to stuff this blanket roll right into your hip crease. Get it right into the lower belly. It's so that we're really rounding at the mid and low back as we tip forward. Walk the hands out. And if the body allows, you'll release the head. Now, if this hurts your knees very badly, or if for some reason you can't get your butt towards your heels, one option is to take a pillow right onto the ankles and rest your seat that way. Do the best you can. We're going to hang out for a full minute. To finish this up, come on up halfway, walk your hands to one side, through center over to the other side. And back through center. Let's sit on up. I want to give you a really nice, luxurious, and helpful Shavasana. But before I do that, I just want to remind you to please do hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're trying to get the channel to 100,000 subscribers as a big milestone. Thank you for those who are already subscribed. And also, as always, you can find more classes with me. In fact, 60-minute practices, over 200 of them at my personal membership site, lby.studio. You can find it at, or look at the link in the descriptions. All right, if you're coming into Shavasana, I encourage you to elevate your legs quite a lot. In fact, it would be really nice to place a chair at the bottom of your mat. But if you've not got a chair handy, find a way to get quite a bit of elevation, stability, and comfort for the legs, because we want to really flatten the low back on the ground. As you recline, you'll tuck your tail. Okay, we'll going to hang out for 5 minutes, but if you do happen to have longer, I can't emphasize this one enough, you can stay for up to 20 minutes because it could take that long for this deep psoas to release if that's what's been causing your trouble. And it could take that long for the low back to sort of let go of its gripping as well. So here we are. You might place hands right on the low belly, a supportive, self-healing gesture. Let's close the eyes, and I'll wake you up. If you're lucky enough to have longer, of course, don't rush out of this. But if you're ready to come with me, let's find bigger breath and a stretch. Rolling over to one side. And climbing up for final seat. So glad you're here. I'd love to know how that feels for you. Stay in touch. Be well. Thanks again for being here. If you stayed till the end of this video, I just want to thank you and also remind you that I have more classes, mostly 60-minute practices and vinyasa style practices over on my online website, leighabutleryoga.com. I'll have a link in the descriptions. You can do a free 14-day trial and see what it's like over there. One way or the other, stay in touch. See you soon.